Last time, we got to see what future Gohan was up to. And after fighting off Zamasu in the future, he now returns to the past once more, with some unexpected passengers. We'll be covering all that and more in the 7th part of What If Goku Learned Fusion Early. After being completely embarrassed by Gohan, Vegeta decides that he's going to go back to the past with him. Not only does he want to see more of Gohan's power, but he wants to see his past self and the past version of Kakarot. Broly doesn't really have a say in this, so he just goes along, and Gohan kind of goes with it too. He didn't really expect to see Vegeta after all this time, but hey, at least that gets rid of a loose end. He knows that Vegeta's not going to be a threat to him now. They all squeeze into the time machine and travel back to the past. Gohan already knows this won't change his timeline, but he's doing this to change the past. At least to make sure everything's safe there, so once he arrives back in the past, he warns everyone of Zamasu, which will set events in motion that'll lead to Beerus destroying him, so that's good enough. But of course the trip back isn't that simple. Gohan returning is pretty huge after all. They're immediately focused on Vegeta and Broly being in the time machine with him. Future Vegeta wastes no time, jumping out of the time machine, ready to encounter his past self as well as Kakarot. Finally, after all this time, he could settle the score with Kakarot. Surely he's not as strong as Gohan is. It does make sense to Vegeta. Gohan's a hybrid Saiyan, so he's gotta be much stronger than normal. But for Kakarot, he could fight him once more. Although President Vegeta kinda scoffs at this. There's no way he's gonna win that fight. It's kind of surprising to future Vegeta because the person doubting him most is his past self. He tells him to not underestimate himself. He's grown much stronger in the future. It looks like this Vegeta's gone soft, especially because that's what Gohan told him. Really, he's gone soft. Exactly the opposite. Sure, Earth has changed him, but he's far stronger than that Vegeta could ever hope to be. He is surprised that after all this time, that Vegeta is still like that. Alright, future Vegeta wants to test that out. Is his past self just being cocky, or is it actually true? He thinks it's the former. Utilizing Super Saiyan 4, Vegeta tries to fight his past self, although it's not really going to accomplish much. This is his full power. He'd like to see past Vegeta do this same thing. And Vegeta just laughs. Going Super Saiyan Blue. That form is definitely something new. They haven't seen anything like it before. It doesn't seem as powerful as their god forms, but still, pretty interesting to see nonetheless. And Vegeta is a bit curious about that form. Super Saiyan 4 he calls it, huh? Now, future Vegeta can't even sense the power from this, so he really doesn't know what to think of it. But blue hair definitely is different. He's ready to see what's more powerful. And, in one shot, President Vegeta wins the fight, humbling his future self. This is for his future self's own good. He's still that same old Saiyan he was a while ago. And that's what's limiting him. He's thinking far too narrowly with everything. And this is exactly why he said he couldn't beat Kakarot. Because Kakarot's on his level. Future Vegeta doesn't stand a chance. What is that power he just experienced? Again, since he can't feel it, he doesn't even realize what he got hit with. Future Broly also meets past Broly too, learning that he got full control on his power. But more important, Gohan has some more time to spend with Goku, and Goku wants to see how strong he's grown. It's kind of a shame because present Gohan's a bit busy right now and can't make it over here, but hopefully he can arrive in time. And he does. Although he missed a good chunk of the fight. When he arrives, he sees Super Saiyan Blue Goku fighting Beast Gohan. They just transformed into their strongest forms. They've been fighting prior to this. Gohan's really glad to see his future self once more, but more so he's confused because he's never seen that form before. And not just from himself, but from anybody. But he's gonna get a good display. Future Gohan defeats Goku really easily. But future Gohan does have a request. His new form is really powerful, and it's definitely way beyond Super Saiyan Blue. But maybe it would be good to test it out against a fusion, and Goku has a perfect idea, looking at Vegeta. Vegeta doesn't really want to do that silly dance in front of everyone, but whatever, he goes along with it. He mainly doesn't want to hear his future self's reaction because he'll definitely laugh at it. And he does. Future Vegeta thinks it's ridiculous. But he hasn't seen ridiculous yet. What's really ridiculous is the power of the fusion that comes out of this. A somewhat new fusion is born. This one has actually been made before. On Beerus' planet they have tried fusion here and there, and since Goku and Vegeta are at a similar power anyways, that means they're pretty much perfect fusion partners, not to mention the fact that they're rivals. Apparently that boosts them even further. So they've tested out the dance before, and of course Vegeta knows it now. This fusion is what they call Gogeta, and he goes Super Saiyan Blue right away. What a perfect chance to use this. There's a bunch of spectators right now. Both Broly's, future Vegeta, Gohan, and even Piccolo, Krillin, and Cell are here too, with Cell watching very closely to try and collect more data from this. You know, it's kinda strange for future Gohan to see Goku and Vegeta fusing, but it does kinda make sense. Last time he saw Vegeta, he definitely wasn't a great person, but he really wasn't even sure if he'd be here on Earth, but no, he is. He lives here now. He actually got married to Bulma and they just had a kid not too long ago. What a strange turn of events for him. And of course, future Vegeta learning all this too is really weird. It's definitely much more jarring from his perspective. Either way though, this is a nice surprise for Gohan. After Gogeta goes Super Saiyan Blue, Gohan does lose the fight, but then he notices something else. There's a new person in the crowd that he doesn't really recognize. It takes a second for it to click, but it's Cell. Wow, Bulma actually did go through with it, and it seems like it worked because he's here, and he's normal, and he definitely looks perfect compared to the other Cell. He arrived here after the fact just to watch the fight, and it's pretty intriguing to see him here. Either way though, they all thank Gohan for his help in preventing Zamasu, and Gohan thanks them for the fun experience. Hopefully future Vegeta and Broly got something out of this. He says goodbye to Goku and his past self. And while present Gohan isn't really training as much as the others, still he is curious. Before future Gohan leaves, he asks him about that form that he has. He honestly has no clue what it is either. It's a form stemming from rage, and that's really all he knows. But if he could achieve it, he's sure his past self can too. They are basically the same person after all, and it's kind of weird seeing him now fully grown up, because it's like looking in a mirror. It's not like before when Gohan was a kid, and he was seeing a younger version of himself. He still is seeing a younger version of himself, but now he's fully grown. He just has a different haircut, no scar, and both his arms. Otherwise, they look identical. Either way, they're of course glad to see each other, and future Gohan returns home with Vegeta and Broly, who have been pretty much speechless ever since Vegeta beat Vegeta. And then after all the God form stuff too, yeah, that left them with nothing else to say. So, Gohan goes home to rectify any loose ends, and it looks like now, Earth might have 2 new residents. While things seemed dire at first, Gohan was at least able to counter it, leaving this arc with a clean ending. That also means that there's not a second Zeno here, so Zeno is going to get pretty bored pretty quickly. He doesn't have a friend to play with after all. But he does remember that tournament between Universe 6 and 7. That seemed pretty fun. So, he sets up the Tournament of Power. It happens as early as possible, at least as soon as the Super Dragon Balls return after the Universe 6 tournament. So pretty much exactly a year after that. Universe 7 has to put together a team now. For the leader, it's probably going to be Cell. He is the strongest here, and he's also the smartest on the team. Despite Cell being a good guy, he is pretty proud of himself, and Bulma's pretty proud of him too, because she did a really good job making him, much better than whatever Jiro can muster. He already has a good idea for a team in mind. We have Cell, Goku, Vegeta, Broly, Gohan, Piccolo, Krillin, Tenshinhan, Roshi, and Yamcha. The humans are all here thanks to being stronger than normal from fusion training. Some like Yamcha probably weren't training as much recently, but still, they're strong enough to warrant being on the team. The androids could be recruited here, but no one really knows them like normal. Either way, their team is good as is, so they're not really too short of members and don't need to recruit the androids, or recruit Frieza for that matter. And now, the Tournament of Power commences. This is going to be another one of those cases where the tournament is kind of a wash, because look at how strong Universe 7 is. First of all, there's obviously Goku and Vegeta. As we know in Dragon Ball, having better training partners means you're growing stronger, so Goku and Vegeta aren't going to be significantly more cracked than normal here, but I think the difference is still big enough that it's worth mentioning here. Although, maybe by this point they'd have Blue Evolution, I think it's fair to say they'd probably have that around here. But that's just them. For the rest of the team, it's weird because, first of all, someone like Piccolo isn't as strong as normal, particularly because nothing happened with him in Kami before. And Gohan's also in kind of a weird spot due to what's happened differently with him. Not to say they're weak, just weaker than normal. The humans, on the other hand, are actually all stronger than normal. But we're forgetting 2 big heavy hitters, Broly and Cell. Broly by now is of course only using Super Saiyan Blue, but still, it's Super Saiyan Blue Broly. I mean, think of what that can do. There should be no issue with him controlling his power here. By this point he's trained so much, and this form is all about serenity, so combine the 2 together, and you have a Broly who's perfectly in control. As for Cell, well, he's even beyond Broly. Not just in terms of power, but in terms of technique, intelligence, strategy, everything. Which is what makes him such a great training partner after all. And a great leader as well. He does come up with some strategies for the team, and Goku, Vegeta, and Broly don't really listen to it because they just fight like regular Saiyans do. Which Cell kind of expected, but it's fine, they could all handle themselves. If anyone's fighting Jiren, it's probably going to be Broly or Cell. Either of them here is strong enough to take him on. But that also would mean there's a side effect of no Ultra Instinct popping up here. Which is fine, Goku's probably gone beyond Blue at this point, either using Blue Evolution or definitely using Blue Kaioken. Maybe he'd even have access to both. And while any of them could have fused during this tournament, they didn't really need to. Although it is worth mentioning, everyone on the team besides Roshi does know fusion. But no one decided to fuse because that means 2 people eliminated at once if they do lose. But it's really a testament to their strength because they could fight alone and they could be fine. Although, Ten and Yamcha were close to fusing at one point. Same for Gohan and Piccolo, but no one really wanted to rely on it too much. The only person that actually did fuse was Kefla. Although, not through the fusion dance of course, through the Potara earrings. Which is pretty new for everybody. That's the first time they're seeing Potara fusion. Interesting to know that there's another method and it doesn't involve the dance. Most of them don't mind the dance part. But that form of fusion definitely seems way more convenient because you just put on earrings and it's done. Not to mention, you get your own cool clothes. Either way, the tournament ends, Universe 7 wins, and all the other universes come back because no matter who gets MVP on the team, they're probably going to make a selfless wish. And it's probably going to be Cell getting MVP because he's the strongest on the team as well as the leader. And he's definitely not getting knocked out of the ring here. But it was a good experience for everyone at least. So, what do we have following the tournament? Obviously there's not going to be a Broly movie because, well, Broly is already here. Although that does bring up the question, what's Paragus up to? He's definitely way into his old age by now. Which is also why they probably wouldn't even have considered him for the tournament. Thankfully he's lived a way better life here than on Vampa. I mean, obviously. And now the guy's enjoying his retirement. I feel like when he came to Earth a while ago, he probably would have gotten some job at Capsule Corp, and with him being a Saiyan, maybe the best thing to put him as would be security. Although it's not like he was working long because after he came to Earth, his rapid aging would start not too long after. And that's kind of a surprise for everyone else because they've never really seen this in action, but Vegeta drops this tidbit, mentioning that Saiyans stay in their prime for a while and then one year they just do that. But even with the rapid aging, it's still nice for Paragus. He's not fending for his life on Vampa, rather, he's on the golf course. He's traded in his Saiyan armor for polo shirts. The Moro arc is next up. Moro escapes prison, and with really no better option, Mayris goes to Earth to try and see if anyone can help, leading to Goku, Vegeta, and Broly going to Namek. Cell decides to hang back because they want to have that fight and he knows he's not even going to have a chance to battle. Although this is kind of a blessing in disguise because if Cell was there, Moro would get way more energy. Because when they get there, they try and fight Moro and he actually wins. And he gets a lot of energy because it's Goku, Vegeta, and Broly. After defeating them, he's able to get the Dragon Balls and then make his wishes, regaining his youth and freeing all the other prisoners. In a desperate attempt to stop him with no other option in mind, Goku and Vegeta fuse into Gogeta. If they hit him with enough raw power, they should be able to kill him. Even with the power he's gained so far, they believe a full power Gogeta can beat him. The issue is, Gogeta is not at full power right now. Even though Goku and Vegeta have healed up a bit, they still did lose a lot of energy, and even right before they fused, they couldn't even access their fullest forms. The best they could muster was Super Saiyan God, and when they're Gogeta, they try and transform and the best they could do is Super Saiyan 2. Their power is still being drained, and eventually goes down to Super Saiyan, then Base. Gogeta is still really strong in Base, he is the sum of his parts multiplied. But he realizes how dangerous this is and that he probably shouldn't fight Moro. He's growing stronger, and if anything, Moro's just going to get more energy from him. He has no exact counter for Moro's energy absorption. He was hoping to get at least one shot in, but it's not like fusing didn't have any use. It's still good as a defensive measure and helps him escape the planet, with Mayris, Broly, Gogeta, and the rest of the Galactic Patrol escaping. And with all the energy that's been drained, Gogeta then defuses pretty quickly, way faster than normal. Now, they need to figure out some way to defeat Moro, especially because he might have his eyes set on Earth. With that, we'll leave off here for now. What'd you guys think about this part? What's gonna happen next? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel, and it shows me you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.